Good afternoon again. On behalf of Ralph Vines Public Speaking Contest and Mrs. Morris, Mr. Vines, also Mrs. Rockefeller, and everyone who is associated with this incredible event, we welcome you to what we believe will be an exciting afternoon, not only for you, but for our students. We're going to ask that you give our students your undivided attention. We ask that you applaud all of them because they are all very talented in their own right. And we are going to begin our program officially now. I'd like to ask Mrs. Addie Morris to come up to share a little bit more about the scholarship and what we are hoping to accomplish today. Please welcome Ms. Addie.
I would like to thank Mrs. Lisa Ann Rockefeller, the Winter P. Rockefeller family, and the Republican Party for allowing us to use their beautiful building to hold this event. Second, I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever had to get up and speak or say something behind someone that spoke really well? That's the way I feel every time I have to get up here and say something behind Pam. And Mr. Vine makes me, he refuses to come up here because he's so afraid. But that being said, we have had this contest over a period of 10 years. But this is actually the 8th year that we have held the contest. This year we had close to 100 applicants apply to be contestants. But we could only take 38 because you would be here all evening. But to make a long story short, what we have here today are the very best. There is several scholarships. Each of the 5 categories will be receiving first, second, and third places. Those places are for first place, $250. Second place is $150, and third place is $100. And all of you participants will be receiving $50.
So our first category is the age to 9 to 12 year group. They have 2 minutes to speak. Our first speaker is Allie Carter Hunt.
Hi, my name's Allie Clark Hunt, and today I'm here to talk about an average day at school. Have you ever heard kids say inappropriate things at school? Well, I have, and let me tell you, it sucks. Kids talking and acting like grown-ups needs to be addressed. So, I'm here to talk about it. Every day, I encounter kids cursing, being racist, or talking about growny things. And as a matter of fact, the day I found out about this contest, some boys said that me and another boy were going to hit it up in the bed. At first, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it wasn't right. Kids shouldn't be talking about making babies at school because that is not part of the lesson plan for elementary students. And besides, it's just gross. Now, on to cussing. I really don't like it when kids at school cuss. And sometimes I feel like it's the parents' fault because they'll allow their children to listen to music or watch movies that have curse words in it. But the child is just as wrong because they'll bring those nasty words into school. And they know better because as soon as a teacher comes around, they'll stop. And finally, racism. Our world is suffering from racism. And in fact, I lost a friend because my mother is black. Last year, my Asian friend said that she didn't like black people because her family said that they were violent. And when I told her my mother was black, she was shocked, and she said that she would get in trouble if we continued staying friends. I took that personally because I am biracial, and I don't like it when people try to make others feel ashamed because of their race. Well, my time is up, so if you don't remember anything else I say, please remember this. Parents, tell your children not to curse, be racist, or talk about grody things. Thank you.
I'm Ethan Gong, and I'm a 3rd grader at Don Roberts Elementary. The title of my speech is The Digital Diet. As you know, we live in a high-tech world. I've heard that even the tooth fairy's giving out iPads now. With technology, we can only dream of generations before us. I love technology myself. I mean, who doesn't? And I used to think I couldn't live without iPads, Wiis, Xboxes. It was like as important as the air I breathed in every day. Well, that changed one day. It was during a tennis tournament. I was waiting for my next match and in the waiting room just warming up by playing on my mom's phone. And I remember she whispered something to me. She said, "Ethan, what if aliens came and attacked us? We would be defeated in no time since we were so busy on electronics." I didn't understand that at the moment, but then I looked around. Everybody was on some sort of screen. It was like Screenland. They were stuck to their screens like glue stuck to wood. After that day, I started to realize my mom had made a point. Technology is good, but overuse of technology can lead to harmful ways. So from then on, I let her put me on a digital diet. Buy Xbox, buy Wii, only see you once a week, because I want to be the hero to save Earth when aliens attack us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jemiah Everett. I'm a 6th grader and I attend Cloverdale Middle School. Positive thinkers. Positive thinkers and thinking allows you to be the best you can be. I think, therefore I am. I always try to think positive. Positive thinking equals positive action. I once heard Shiv Kira, a well-known poet, say, "Your positive actions mixed with your positive thinking results in success." Positive things are successful indeed. Did Thomas Jefferson think positive thoughts? Did Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. think positive thoughts? Did Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg have positive thoughts? Or even our former president, Barack Obama, think positive thoughts? Never forget the path that you're walking, for it will make you who you are today. Always think positive and always follow your positive thoughts. Once you can think positive, you can do what's positive. Let me spell it out for you. Positive. Thinking. In order to carry a positive attitude, we must develop a positive vision. Positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. I always turn a negative situation into a positive situation. Let me make this personal. What did you say? I'm not tall enough. Well, I tell you, I can walk and be as tall as I like. What did you say? I talk too loud. Well, the better for you to hear me. What I am, a girl. Well, girls can do anything boys can do, and I can do some things better. Always do your best in everything. Always keep your head up. Never let it go. Positive thinkers may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Positive thinkers go to school and stay out the street and learn what's right. Be positive. Be positive thinking.
Hi, my name is Trey Norman, and I am here to talk to you about foster care. Close your eyes. Imagine it's Christmas morning. You may remember particular smells or sounds, or maybe you're imagining laughter from your siblings and parents. Now imagine that same thing, but you're surrounded by strangers. You're expected to smile and have fun, but on the inside all you want to do is cry and go back home. Now open your eyes. This is the reality of over 3,000 foster kids in Arkansas. Foster care is very important. As of 2017, approximately 3,055 kids were in foster care in Arkansas. This means that these kids have been displaced from their families through no fault of their own. But think, if there are no foster care, these kids would either be in orphanages or group homes, and in these environments, children do not get to experience the true love and care of a family. There are many common myths about foster care, but one of the most common myths is that these kids are bad kids. People think that the kids in foster care are bad kids because people think that kids are in foster care because of things that they have done, but this is simply not true. Kids are in foster care because their parents have made decisions that will ultimately have a negative impact on their life. Another common myth is that you can set up no parameters when deciding when children come into your home. But an example of what really happens is that in our home, we always get to say yes or no before we decide when children come into your home. Many people also think it is extremely hard to become a foster parent, but the reality is that the state will help you as much as they can. An example being that they provide a resource worker to be there for you every step of the way. By now you're probably thinking, why doesn't everyone foster? Well, some common excuses are, I would get too attached, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. But there are answers to these excuses. If you get attached, that means you can show the proper love and care that the child needs. And if you work, the state will pay for childcare. And also, do we really ever have enough time? As an 11-year-old boy, I can give you 18 reasons why you should foster. And at some point in time, all those reasons have been my brothers or sisters. Thank you.
My parents often remark that the world they grew up in was much less complicated than the world I'm growing up in today. Indeed, technology has changed the world for the better in many ways, but it has also brought about new challenges. The internet has revolutionized the worlds of business, medicine, and communication. Unfortunately, it has also given those who wish to do evil the opportunity and access to do so. The term cyberbullying is frequently mentioned in the nightly news, yet many people do not fully understand what it is. Cyberbullying is defined as the use of electronic communication to bully a person, typically by sending messages of an intimidating or threatening nature. In other words, it allows bullies to hurt others through online means. Cyberbullying was made a crime in the state of Arkansas in July of 2011 and is a Class B misdemeanor. According to cyberbullying.org, more than half of young people have been victims of cyberbullying, and 10 to 20% of these young people experience it regularly. Cyberbullying can take many forms, such as sending hurtful or threatening messages on social media or pretending to be someone else online to hurt another person. It can lead to depression, anxiety, and even suicide. Sadly, only 1 in 10 teens tells a parent if they have been a victim of cyberbullying. Despite what people may think, there are many ways to avoid situations like these. There is no good way to avoid cyberbullying altogether, but if you do receive an inappropriate or threatening message, make sure to save it or get another copy of it and show it to a parent or trusted adult immediately. It is also best if you do not respond to the message sent to you. For those of us who are not dealing with cyberbullies, we can spread kindness and stand up for those dealing with these issues. A kind gesture can be as simple as smiling to someone in the school hallway. Compassion and kindness are our best weapons for fighting the battle of cyberbullying. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Camila Velasquez, and today I will be talking to you about DACA. What is DACA? It is the Trump administration's move to rescind the Deferred Action for Childhood Programs, or DACA. It has created an uncertain future for more than 800,000 young immigrants who have been granted protection from deportation and permission to work legally. A 6-month delay provides a chance for Congress to save the 2012 program. But if we're going to debate the merits of DACA, we should all know what we're talking about. Here are some myths about DACA. Myth 1. It is believed that DACA encourages someone to do something illegal. But the truth is, DACA applies only to immigrants who entered before their 16th birthday or have continuously lived in the country since at least June 15, 2007. More than a decade ago, no one entering now can apply. Myth 2. They say DACA is taking jobs from many Americans. It supposes that the number of jobs in the economy is fixed and that any increase in workers often result as in unemployment. Yet this notion is easily disapproved. From 1970 to 2017, the U.S. labor force doubled. Myth 3. The third myth is repealing DACA will benefit taxpayers, but the opposite is true. According to the National Academy of Sciences, first-generation immigrants who entered the United States as children pay on average more in taxes over their lifetimes than they receive in benefits, regardless of their education level. Myth 4 is that DACA repeal protects communities from criminals to participate in DACA. Applicants must pass a background check. They have to live here without committing a serious offense. If they are arrested, DACA can be easily taken away without a conviction. And finally, the last myth is DACA's repeal is just about politics. It is not because President Trump wanted to end DACA for political reasons. He could have done so on his first day in office. Obama implemented DACA without going through Congress. And although some legal scholars dispute whether it faces the same legal issues as the 2015 program, the Trump administration would have confronted a real possibility of defeat. Thank you.
Why don't we give that whole group a round of applause?
Good afternoon. My name is Yasim Beckett, and my talk today will be about electronics and their effects on you. Have you ever spent hours straight staring at an electronic screen without stopping? Well, of course you have. Everyone has. Look, electronics come in many forms these days, such as iPads, tablets, computers, phones, and many more. Although electronics could be fun, they have terrible effects on both your body and your brain. First of all, electronics make you have a higher chance of dying. Scientists have studied that 52% of people who play on electronics die earlier than others. Also, electronics can change your learning habits. Kids who play on electronics typically get lower grades than other kids. Another issue is that electronics make you more aggressive. They do this by giving you violent games to play, which can change your attitude. Another issue is protecting your privacy. You can get exposed to the world, just like the recent Facebook event. There are also hackers that can do this to you. The final and probably worst one is that electronics make you socially isolated. The more time you spend texting on your phone or gaming on your iPad, the less time you spend interacting with real people, which can tear your family apart. Now, it's okay to spend time on electronics, just as long as you don't spend too much time. Electronics have many uses in the world today, but we have to control them before they control us. So I have a challenge, starting from right now, to unplug yourself from all electronics for one day. And remember, electronics are a good servant, but a dangerous master. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mayana Williams. I'm a 5th grader at David O'Donnell Elementary, and I am going to tell you the importance of Black entrepreneurship. Whoever dismisses entrepreneurship doesn't understand the importance and significance to this economy. Let me bring it closer to home. Black entrepreneurship is vital to this uplifting and empowering of our community. For example, 15-year-olds Isaac Moore and Mosiah Bridges shows their leadership of owning their businesses at a young age. Isaac Moore is owner of Isaac Counter, LLC based in Hillside, New Jersey. She's an entrepreneur, actress, motivational speaker, fashion designer, and author. Mosiah Bridges is owner of Mo's Bows. His company produces handmade bow ties and is on a mission to make men look and feel the best in Memphis, Tennessee. One last example is a Black family owning potato chips. It expands to 41 states. A business based in Atlanta, Georgia is becoming a household name. Presented by Dan Dre Anderson and two of his daughters, Amin and Amori. People will love these gluten-free potato chips. He encourages everyone to go to his website, www.symphonychips.com, to win 12 packs of free chips. Let me remind you that Black entrepreneurship isn't just a local thing. It's a global mindset. Although ambition and tenacity are at the core of entrepreneurship, I believe that the mindset is about being your business. Thank you.
Children my age are often asked, what do you want to do in life? At a recent gathering, I was asked the same, and I proudly said, I want to be a pediatric cardiac surgeon. This did cause some embarrassment to my parents, who knew I had no idea what I was talking about. But it did get me thinking, what did I really want to do in life? I remembered the beautiful pictures of the universe and how it reminded me of my passion to explore the stars. Looking at the magic in every living cell reminded me of how the universe was just like that. I remembered how great people influenced humanity, from the ancient times of Aryabhata, who gave us the concepts of zero, decimals, and pi, to the latter day Galileo and Isaac Newton, who literally defied gravity and invented calculus, to modern day Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King, amongst many others. It reminded me that as a kid, I have to make these decisions as well. As people at my age, our life is just like a blank canvas, and growing up provides us with life experiences that give us colors to help paint our own canvas, our own masterpiece. Everyone has this realization, and it's important that you don't mess this up. Thank you.
Today I will be talking about horrible patterns that happen. What comes to mind when you hear bullying? Some may think bullying is when people put mean notes in your locker, or people push you down in the hallway. There are many different types of bullying, and they all negatively impact schools and homes. An average person can recall some type of experience involving face-to-face bullying or cyberbullying. Face-to-face bullying is when someone physically or verbally does something to you to make them seem more powerful than you are. This takes place in many schools today. Technology has a solid place in the world. With that comes more cases of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is when someone uses an electronic device to bully someone. For example, by using social media. The effects of bullying are widespread. Children, teens, and adults end their lives daily and are not able to enjoy school or extracurricular activities. Children, teens, and adults end their lives because they don't want to be bullied anymore. Children and teens also don't enjoy school because of their interactions with bullies. School just becomes another place of depression, pain, and shame. Children and teens also don't enjoy extracurricular activities because they're afraid people will talk about them or mistreat them. Yes, there are many effects of bullying, but there are also ways to prevent bullying and begin to heal those wounds. Random acts of kindness and starting of school-based clubs are ways to prevent bullying. These also make huge impacts on people's days and lives. What comes to mind when you hear bullying now? Use the information I've shared with you today, put it to use, and let's all work together to save our schools and homes and communities from this hateful aspect of society. Thank you.
What? Where? Those are the two questions you need to know about leadership. The what is easy. Leadership is to guide or lead a person or group. Where can you find leadership, you may ask? You can find leadership in people who look like me. 10-year-olds. I'm 10. 10-year-olds help other people. 55% of youth volunteer in the U.S. Those people are helping others. They are showing leadership. But honestly, I think that number should be higher. Where can you find leadership, you may ask? You can find leadership in people who look like me, 4th graders. I'm in 4th grade. 4th graders stand up for what they believe in. 160 students, teachers, and staff were killed in school shootings. 4th graders all around the U.S. joined together on National Walkout Day to stand up for what they believed in. Girls who look like me show leadership because we never give up. Sometimes people say I'm too small, but I think I'm Wonder Woman. Why? Because, come on, say it with me, I never give up. People who look like me show leadership because we never give up.
Good evening. My name is Madison Robinson. I am a 5th grader at David O. Dye Elementary, and I'm going to tell you how we can save capitalism in America. Do you recall a time when the single income of a school teacher, a baker, a salesman, or a mechanic was enough to buy a house, have a car, and raise a family? Well, that time was the 1950s. The standard of living steadily rose through the 1950s and 60s, but over the last 30 years, by contrast, the size of the economy doubled again, but the earnings of a typical American went nowhere. Then the CEO of large corporations earned an average of about 20 times the pay of their typical worker. In those years, the richest 1% went home with 9 to 10% of total income. Today, the top 1% of Americans get more than 20% of pay. The threat to capitalism is no more communism or fascism, but it's the steady undermining of the trust that modern societies need for growth and stability. Economic resources gradually shifted from production to protection. But, contrary to Karl Marx, there is nothing about capitalism that leads unbendingly to greed or corruption. Many people believe that capitalists are greedy, corrupt, and evil. Yet, if you look at what true capitalists do, true capitalists only profit if and when making life better, often saving us time, energy, and money. Being a true capitalist is becoming a small business owner and utilizing the tax laws. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kriti, and today we're talking about school shooting. School shooting is one of the major safety concerns across America today for children, parents, teachers, and communities. There have been about 2 dozen of school shootings this year in these last 3 months, Parkland being one of the worst, killing 15 students and 2 teachers. Now let's shift our attention to another dimension of this issue, its unbearable emotional impact. Its emotional impact on the families that lost their kids, the survivors' families, and the fear in the communities. Some parents might feel insecure sending their kids to school, and some kids might feel scared to go to school. This is just unfair for the kids of America. I personally feel safe in my school because we do many safety drills and police is always there nearby, but we can never predict when or where it's going to happen. To conclude my speech, here are my 3 suggestions. Care. Let's provide care and emotional health support to the people who need it. My second suggestion, control. Let's control gun age limit and make it a more mature age limit. My third C, community. Let's build a strong community where everyone feels cared, loved, and accepted. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tamia Baker, and the topic I'll be discussing with you all today is violence. Well, you all might know violence means the act of mental, emotional, and physical violence. Well, you all should know what physical violence is. It's when you or someone else hurts another person using their fists and or feet. Mental and emotional violence are pretty much the same thing. They both mean to hurt someone, and more specifically, they both mean to hurt someone else's feelings. This can send someone into a spiral of depression. And my parents always say, treat people how you would want to be treated. But often, people treat others how they are treated. Now, this all sounds bad, but I have a 3-step plan that I call Project Water. First step to my plan is to know that you are the best and that you did nothing wrong. The second step to my plan is that you should try to be the person's friend and try to understand their problems and see it from their perspective. Step 3 is to get a counselor because you can't solve all problems by yourself. By following my plan, you are no longer fighting fire with fire, and you are now fighting fire with water.
My name is Keith McGee, and I attend Pinnacle View Middle School as a 7th grader. And today, I will discuss a topic that is highly overlooked when it comes to our nation's economy. That topic is simply equal pay. When we first think about that topic, we automatically think money. But sometimes it's not the money, but it's the positions that provides the money. Today, when I say equal pay, I mean as in women getting paid the same amount of money as men. Clearly, I'm not a woman, but it wouldn't hurt to step up if it was right for our women. Believe it or not, women in the U.S. who work full-time year-round are only paid 80 cents for every dollar paid to men. The even more disappointing fact about this is the wage gap for African American women is even larger. The Equal Pay Act has been the law for over 50 years now. These facts simply prove that the Equal Pay Act needs some reconstruction and adjusting done to it. For example, some mothers are paid less than fathers. In 2015, mothers who work full-time year-round typically had lower earnings than fathers. The comparisons are $40,000 to $55,000. The wage gap also affects single women without children too. If a woman has never been married, has no children, and works full-time year-round, generally pays 76 cents for every dollar a man is paid. In order to stop this from happening, I strongly think that as a nation, We should move forward in this world so we as people are able to focus more on better paying jobs for our women by eliminating the barriers so we can focus more on better paying jobs for our women.
Hello, my name is Janiyah Carter. Adolescents today have a number of things to keep track of, whether that be academics, social life, sexual orientation, or even bodily changes. At this stage in life, we are struggling every day to keep our hope alive. Every day is a battle for us. Yes, I'm saying us because I myself am included. During your teen years, a lot of feelings are overlooked by outside communities due to the fact that we're just teenagers. I swear if I had a nickel for every time I've heard someone say, "Oh, she'll get over it," or even, "How much stress could a teenager possibly have?" I'd be wealthy today. Now, I want you all to just take a few moments to reflect on teenage problems. In that short amount of time you spent reflecting, 10 embarrassing photos and messages have just been shared over 200 times. 10 teenagers have just been bullied. 10 teenagers have just committed suicide. Adults tell us that we are the future. They aren't realizing that their future is dying. Teenagers need reassurance that someone is going to have our backs. That's what's going to help us keep our hope alive. Who better to talk to than our parents, right? Sure, we should just talk to our parents. What about those of us who don't have supportive parents or no parents at all? What are they supposed to do? I'm so passionate about this situation because I just recently lost a friend. She was just 12 years old. She and I were both born with severe asthma. In the media, taking medicine is considered weak or even weird. No one wants to be the kid that has to stop and take their medicine during physical activity. At the same time, you don't want to avoid playing sports or become overweight, all because of the desperate want or need to fit in. It haunts me that I, someone who goes through the same thing, didn't get a chance to tell her that in order to fit in, you must stand out. Now, I have presented you all with a problem, so please help me, a team, find a way to keep hope alive in 2018. Thank you.
My name is Anu Iyer and I'm from Forest Heights STEM Academy. Imagine a world without lifesavers. And you know I'm not talking about the hard candy that we all love. I'm talking about the people that save lives. To name a few, doctors, police officers, and my topic today, firefighters. Firefighters, what's so great about them? All they do is run in fires and save people, right? Wrong. Firefighters every day are risking their lives to save yours. They are warriors who stand on the front line, battling Mother Nature's rage. They are constantly facing fear and running in while everyone else is running out. They are soldiers as they risk their lives to save others. Every day, precious moments are being lost when firefighters are checking each room to make sure that nobody is left behind, risking their lives each moment. On average, 7 people die in U.S. home fires per day, according to the National Fire Protection Association. We can solve this issue, but how? Recently, I met with the fire chief at Station Number 9 in West Little Rock and asked what the #1 priority was there at the station. The chief noted how automation could play a pivotal role in saving lives. The chief went on to explain the key features of a robot which would help in this process. They include an infrared camera, an alarm, and sensors. Now, some of you might be curious as to how these small additions to a robot could make a big impact. Well, an infrared camera forms an image from heat energy. It is converted into an electronic signal which is processed to a thermal image on a video monitor. Sensors will be located on the top of the robot, with its main job to locate the center of the fire. When found, an alert will be raised and firefighters would be notified. If we add this robot to all stations, firefighters can save more lives in a shorter period of time, while reducing the amount of risk on themselves. Please join me in a big round of applause for our heroes, firefighters.
Hi, my name is Katie Jarris. I'm 13 years old. I'm in 7th grade, and I go to Pinnacle View Middle School. Society. It teaches us that if we are not in hourglass shape, then we are either too skinny or we're too fat. That if we're not the smartest, then we're not going to succeed. Do you know what? They're wrong. They say that don't wear too much makeup because you know what? It looks like you're trying too hard. But if you don't wear makeup, that just means that you don't care. Or you have to be smart, but you can't be a nerd because, you don't want to be known as the nerdy kid. But you need to know, don't listen to them. Because the truth is, you are beautiful, you are perfect, and I know that sometimes you just want to cover it up and you want to wear makeup and do whatever. But you need to realize that the fact is society is wrong. We are all human, and we are beautiful, and we are perfect, and whatever they say, it really doesn't matter. Now, have any of you ever felt insecure or like you're not good enough? Raise your hand if you have. Have any of you ever felt like if you go outside, like you're going to be judged? I need to let you know you are not alone because that's how everyone feels every single day. But what you need to do is you need to go to a mirror and you need to say it with me, I am beautiful. I am perfect the way I am. And when I go outside, I cannot wear makeup. I don't have to do anything because I am perfect. Well, if you're a guy. You are beautiful no matter what. Now, I know that some of you, who doesn't think they're the smartest, ever? Let me tell you, I really don't think I'm very smart, but that doesn't mean that you can't succeed. Because every day I go to school, and people say, oh, Katie, you will not do very well because I might get an F on a math test or something. But that doesn't matter because we are perfect just the way we are. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aurora King. I go to North Little Rock High School, and the title of my speech is The State of Mental Health Care. Due to the recent school shooting in Parkland, Florida, many politicians have set out their thoughts and concerns on this issue. However, one such opinion that stood out to me was when President Trump said the shooting was not the result of a gun situation in America. It was rather the result of a mental health one. While I disagree with this, President Trump does have a point. The mental health care system in America is broken. There are around 13,000 mental health facilities in the United States. However, less than half of them are residential or inpatient programs. An overwhelming majority are outpatient programs, meaning they only deal with the patients a couple hours every day or so. In addition, mental health expenditures only account for 6.3% of all United States health spending. And most of those go to prescription drugs or outpatient programs. In 1986, prescription drugs only accounted for 7% of all mental health expenses, but have now risen to 27%. A similar pattern follows for these outpatient programs. However, both residential and inpatient programs drastically decreased with that same time period. But according to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illnesses, 1 in 25 adults will experience one mental illness that threatens one or more major life activities in the course of their lifetime. And 6.9% of all adults living in the United States will have at least one major episode of major depressive disorder in a given year. That amounts to around 16 million people, 3.2 million of which will develop psychotic symptoms. My dad was one of these people. Fortunately, my family has been thankful enough to afford a variety of treatment options that include residential therapy, out of state, and genetic testing to see which prescription drugs will work best for him. But what I've realized from this situation is that there are so many people in the United States dealing with these serious mental illnesses that may not be able to afford the type of treatment that they deserve. Prescription drugs can only fix so many things. It is important that the United States takes a serious look into the mental health care system in America, not just for the people that have mental illnesses, but to make our country a safer and healthier one. Thank you.
All right,
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a marvelous, marvelous day. My name is Jessica Ty, and I am currently a freshman student at McClellan High School. The title of my speech is, and I quote, "Is negativity making you rich?" Now let me say that again for the people in the back. Is negativity making you rich? Now, a few of y'all may be wondering, what does that mean, or what is she talking about? Well, the unfortunate truth is that we live in a world where most people would rather spend their valuable time on the internet body shaming someone and saying hurtful things than go out into this world and make a difference. They would rather drive somebody to end their own life than become one of those people who work to end the suicide crisis altogether. These people treat negativity as if it's a high-paying job, and it's just plain vacuous. Negativity first consumes that person's mind, then it changes their actions, personality, and the way they think. Money does the exact same thing. But if we live in a world where people are valuing negativity more than money, then we might as well pull out a checkbook, write a check, write the word negativity on it, and take it to the bank. At the end of the day, it won't be accepted, and everyone in here knows why. It has no value. So why treat negativity as if it's money? Why run into a fight that breaks out as if someone just threw a stack of money on the ground? Why talk about someone as if you're getting paid to do it? For the people that do this, they need to ask themselves one simple question. Is negativity making me rich? Or leaving me just as irrelevant as the words I use to hurt others? My message to you all is to be someone who chases dreams and goals, not negativity. Trust me, it'll put you on a horrendous path that leads nowhere. And you want to realize it because you're so far gone that you've escaped reality, missed out on the important things in life. But that path to success, let me tell y'all about that path to success. It'll lead you to real money, something that actually has value. It won't be declined at a bank. Like I said last year, you are the future. So make it something worth looking forward to. Y'all see what I did there? Thank you.
So what does it take to be a top collegiate athlete? One could say it's the training. By the time these athletes are in college, they've been training for several years, possibly even a decade. This is their pure love for the sport, their natural talent. There's lots of things you can say. Okay. So, all these things considered, they have it really hard, and it's reasonable to say that they deserve support from the NCAA. The NCAA being the $995.9 nonprofit governing body of college sports. Now, the NCAA does help the college students by giving them free food, free gear, and big facilities, and lots of other things that I'm sure student athletes really do appreciate. But the NCAA also puts lots of rules and guidelines on these athletes that will only make it harder on them. If they don't follow these rules, they can lose their sport eligibility, their scholarship, and their chance to pursue their dreams. Some of these rules are reasonable, like they can't gamble, they can't use banned drugs, and that makes sense. But a lot of them just attack their ability to profit off of the performances. So say they cannot get sponsored, because if they get sponsored, the NCAA will consider them professionals and they'll lose their ability to play sports in college. But coaches, however, they are allowed to get sponsored heavily. Some of their sponsorships are worth up to several millions of dollars. According to Business Insider, Haben from Alabama, coach, he makes $11.1 million each year of sponsorship fees, on top of bonuses. And at that price, Alabama could be paying 240,000 teachers or police officers. And the next issue is the way the NCAA deals with athletes owning businesses. Now, they are allowed to own businesses, but they cannot promote their businesses via themselves. Or in other words, they cannot use their own image as a top athlete that performs good week in, week out to help sell and advertise their own business. So this basically means that college athletes do not own their own image. Now, that's really messed up. Really messed up. While the coaches are allowed to make all their money. So, in conclusion, athletes work hard week in, week out. They put in 50 hours. It's almost like a full-time job for them. And they're not allowed to make money off of this. The simple solution is the NCAA can just make it so that college athletes can get sponsored. They can use their own image, their own performances that they do to make money and earn a living. Because it's extremely hard to put in 50 hours a week only going off of pride or whatever inner emotions they have that will keep them going. Thank you.
So I'm Caitlin Williams, and I attend Parkview High School, where I'm a junior. They say, take a picture, it'll last longer. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. An oxymoron. How can a picture be worth 1,000 words and yet last longer? Typically, it insinuates that it does nothing. So, I decide to take a picture, cute or something like that. Maybe it was during one of my Snapchats. I decide to post it as my profile picture. You can look at it, judge me, condemn me, or talk about me when you don't even know me. You see, I'm a child, and some call me juvenile. Maybe it's the fun that we don't get to have in the sun. You know, our days ain't like back in the day when they had to go outside and play. Oh no, you see, we have technology, cameras, phones, and iPads, and everything we need to kickstart a change in the world with just a simple touch. But the picture we took doesn't matter that much. It was a gesture, a simple thought to just point, click, and snap a picture, if you will. Now, that picture probably won't be remembered in the next 2 to 5 years, but it may be something you decide to hold against me for the next 10. Who knows? Next time you decide to take a look, it might be mature or just a nice picture. It might even resemble my intellectual stance. So, don't judge me by my social media. Is it perception or reality? After all, the picture that's posted might be just fake news according to President 45, or it'll be a facade to fit into the status quo of my generation. So don't judge me by my social media. After all, I was just socializing, not specializing. Nor did I mean to be tantalizing, just styling and profiling. Thank you.
My name's Dominic Diamond, and this is called Moving Forward. Everyone's different. We all have different backgrounds, lifestyles, personalities, likes, dislikes, and so many other things. But one thing brings us all together, and that's the strive for world peace. We all want it, and society has been reaching for it for centuries. Mahatma Gandhi's Salt March in 1930 stopped unfair British laws against selling salt. It's also considered the reason India gained its independence 17 years later. When African Americans wanted equal rights, we marched peacefully, and today, some of the world's most influential political and cultural leaders are black. Susan B. Anthony and other activists held sit-ins and rallies for women's rights to vote, while labor unions striked and picketed for safer working conditions for children, minors, and factory workers. 500,000 Americans protested involvement in the Vietnam War, saving hundreds of lives. And just weeks ago, students around the country, myself included, held protests and memorials for stricter gun laws and to stop school shootings. But we aren't done yet. There's still a lot of work we need to do, and these past movements are great stepping stones to use, but world peace starts with one person, and that's you. The first step each person needs to take is maintaining the right attitude. This means always being kind and a light to others, but don't keep your positivity to yourself. It's best used when shared with others. Use your voice and actions and encourage others to do the same. Set off a chain reaction of love in your community and peer group. Mahatma Gandhi once said, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. Keep this quote in mind as you move forward in life. So moving forward, remember, always use your voice. Moving forward, remember to always do what's right. Moving forward, remember, strive to be the best you can be. And moving forward, remember, strive for world peace, because it is achievable, but it starts with you. It starts in your homes, in your neighborhoods, on your jobs, and in your classrooms. Thank you.
As a 5 or 6 year old little girl, I remember having an obsession with Barbie dolls, as many other little girls my age probably did. So when my mother bought me one on my birthday that year, I remember being elated until I ripped open the wrapping paper and realized I looked nothing like her. Later, when I started school, children made fun of the way my family and I spoke English and the lunches that my parents had prepared for me. See, I had already understood that children weren't intentionally being racist or cruel, but I was too different, too strange, and too foreign to be considered one of them. From those realizations, I wanted to throw away my Chinese heritage. I didn't want to be ridiculed over my slanted eyes or my slight accent when I spoke English. But in that darkness, someone had the compassion to light a lamp for me. The East facilitator at Roberts Elementary, Mrs. McBride. Upon joining her program, she cultivated a spark and an affinity for advocation. Even in the beginning, when I stumbled profusely over words and shook when giving the simplest of presentations. Again and again, she picked me up from the floors of frustration. Through her words that pushed me from a shy, introverted little girl to the speaker who can now stand before you, I have gained a newer confidence for the ancestors who've instilled in me the gifts of mental strength, grit, and the capacity for hard work. See, my parents had originated from a background almost reminiscent to a Dickens novel. My father grew up in a small rural village in China where he had to rise up and move to the United States in pursuit of higher education. My mother fared in a slightly more forgiving childhood, but battles daily tribulations as a female minority engineer. She's the main inspiration for a PSA which I co-authored, an advocacy for females and minorities pursuing their dreams in STEM and computer science. I can tell you that what you are and where you came from, don't let that have a limitation on the person you can be. Because you are the sound of dreams.
Hi, my name is Deontay Floyd. I currently attend Fairfield High School as a freshman, and today my speech for you all is called Defining Your Future. As we go on and we live on in this world, we notice that the future has huge impacts on our lives. What you do now can either change your future for the better or worse. The word future means the time or period of time following the moment of speaking or writing, time regarded as still to come, meaning that your future is only as good as you say you want it to be. Just imagine how the future will be with better technology. I mean, sure, it's great now, but think, things will be so much easier than it is already now. No more stressing, no more worrying, and no more waiting, because the future is just right around the corner, and it holds great things for us all. Now let's get a little deeper into the matter. When you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, they'll give you answers like doctor, lawyer, basketball player. You know a few answers you'll never hear? Gang member, drug addict, serial killer. Something happens in the child's life that makes them go the wrong direction. We need people to be role models to make sure things for our future leaders don't go horribly wrong. We need jobs like engineers for our bright young minds to keep them and put them on the path where they need to be. The ability to be educated is one of the most valuable gifts you can have as a young child. So ask yourself, how will I define my goals? Will I see my future? How will my current actions affect my future? Because those are the type of questions that will constantly pop into your head the more you think about your future. You grow, you learn, you progress. That's really how most of us get by in life. We start off young and clueless, then we mature and get older, grow. Once you're growing up and you make mistakes, you get taught a lesson, learn. Once you've grown up and made all the mistakes you can, you'll grow and progress into an intelligent young man or woman. But remember, you're never done learning. Just because you're out of school does not mean you're done learning. Just because you have a high GPA does not mean you are done learning. You still have much to learn in the future, and it holds great things for us all. I know I may be young, but I still have questions about my future like any other adult, like, will I grow up and be the person that I want to be? Not who my parents want me to be, not who others expect me to be, but who I want to be. And I don't know what the future holds for me yet, but the only way to know is to grow. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Swati Menon, and I'm a freshman at Little Rock Central High School. I'm here to convince you of the importance of strong gun control. I believe that our country needs strong gun control because, 1, there have been way too many mass shootings recently. 2, people are able to buy and own guns way too easily now. And 3, there are things that can be done to prevent these mass shootings, or at least try to prevent them. So 1, too many mass shootings. Since the 2012 school shooting in Connecticut, there have been more than 1,600 mass shootings in the United States. These have killed more than 1,800 people and wounded more than 6,400. In 2016, in Orlando, Florida, there was a nightclub shooting. This killed 49 people and it wounded 53 people. And then there was a concert shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that killed 58 people and it wounded about 500. One of the most recent mass shootings was in Parkland, Florida, the school shooting that we've all heard about. It killed in total 17 students and staff members. These numbers are way too high and they're increasing. Do we really need this to happen? The next thing, people being able to own and buy and own guns very quickly and easily. In Arkansas, the only thing that you have to do to own a gun is be over the age of 18. If you want to have a concealed weapon, like a handgun, that you will keep in your vehicle or on your body, all you have to do is have lived in Arkansas for about 3 months, so 90 days. There's not even a waiting period. A waiting period is basically you buy the gun and then you wait for them to do a background check on you, and then you can take your gun home. In Arkansas, we don't have a waiting period. You can just buy the gun and you can take it home. This is pretty easy. You can buy a gun pretty easily, and this is probably one of the biggest causes for all of these mass shootings that I talked about earlier. Lastly, there are things that can be done to increase security in the United States. One thing that I suggest, because it's much more easily said than done, is that we treat places like airports pretty much. We can have security machines at places like theaters, malls, schools, and if we do this, I believe that we can prevent people that shouldn't be in public places not be there. This is one of the things that I suggest, and also for people that like getting guns for hunting purposes, I think we can have centers at the places that are general areas that people hunt at. There can be hunting centers that people store their guns in. And then whenever they want to hunt, they can come, they can get their gun, they can go through another background check to make sure they haven't done anything, and then they can hunt and put it back. Those are some of the suggestions that I have. I believe that this country can be an amazing place. We don't need all of these people dying because we don't want our country dying. I know that we can have an amazing land, and I hope that I've made you all agree with me on the needs of stronger gun control. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kyle Smith, and I attend Cloverdale Middle School. Diversity. Growing up in a diverse home with people that are not the same race as myself has changed my way of thinking in many ways. For example, I do not think of the people that I live with as someone who looks different than me. I think of them as my family. What does the word family mean to me? Family means consistent and loving. When I was little, I was living with my biological mom. We did not have much, sometimes nothing at all. I did not have very many clothes, and I did not go to school like I needed to. All this happened because she got around the wrong people and did some of the wrong things. It's amazing how the littlest decision can mess up your whole entire life. But that's only if you allow it. You decide your future. No matter where or who you come from, that does not decide who or what you're going to be. You can be anything as long as you set your mind to it. To this day, I'm still in foster care. You may wonder, how does it feel to go through what I have at a very young age? It does not bother me because I know if I did not go through what I have, I would not be where I am today. Me and my family are closer than any other family. We do many great fun activities, such as going to a restaurant and having fun. But most of all, I love having a family that I can call mine. No matter what people think, I do not care because I know that I love them and they love me. People seem to think that culture is made up of one race. But let me tell you, you cannot be so far from wrong. Remember me, because I am the one that did not let my past interfere with my future. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Webb, and today I will be presenting a speech titled One Less. Close your eyes. Think about the things in your life that are most important to you. Your church, your family and friends, your home, your hobbies. Now imagine being ripped away from your family without a moment's notice. You were taken from the only home you have ever known and being moved to a new town with strangers. The church you attended is now miles away, so you begin going to a new church with the strangers. Eventually, you may even lose your own name in the process. This is what the 428,000 children in the U.S. foster care system face daily. The numbers have now reached over 5,000 children living in foster homes in our state. And with only 1,600 foster family homes in Arkansas, there are more children who do not have a home to call their own. My family and I began the process of becoming a foster to adoptive family 2 years ago. We've already gone through hundreds of pages of paperwork, state and federal background checks, and classes to prepare us for the new hardships my new brothers and sisters may face. After all of this, we have been officially cleared to become a foster to adoptive family. We still have a little while to go, but I cannot wait to let my new brothers and sisters feel the safety of a family who will love them forever. Even with more people choosing to become foster or adoptive parents, many children still face difficulties throughout this process. In 2015, more than 20,000 teenagers aged out of the foster care system at age 18 with no permanent family. Can you imagine starting your adult life after high school without a family to help guide and support you through this big change they call adulthood? Research shows that children who age out of the foster care system are more likely to experience unemployment, homelessness, or even incarceration than those in the general population. This is unacceptable. The children in our generation need safe and loving homes to call their own. And even if you can't foster or adopt, you can still help. You can donate clothes, sponsor a child during the holidays, and help to provide necessities to children's homes. You can also educate others about the things they can do to help. Now, close your eyes and imagine the joy you can bring by helping to provide the basic wants and needs of children in our country. They are my age. They are my classmates. They are our future college roommates, and they play an important part in the future of our generation. You can make a difference. Remember, helping one child won't change the world, but for that one child, the world will change. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hannah Taylor. I am 16 years old and I attend Conway High School. The title of my speech is Social Media, Generation Z's Birth and Possible Killer. Think to yourself for a moment. Imagine a life where every word you speak, every action and reaction is recorded and posted for the entire world to see. Welcome to my generation's reality. Generation Z, also known as screenagers. Everything that we do is recorded and posted for everyone to see. I used to be obsessed with social media. Just ask my mom, trust me. I spent way too much time scrolling through Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, comparing myself to all my fellow peers. And I started to feel depressed, anxious, insecure in myself. My mom told me, she said, Hannah, remember, comparison is the thief of joy. And I got to thinking, she's right. Tell that to the rising numbers of anxiety and depression amongst the teenagers in my generation. It is a proven fact that the excessive use of social media leads to things such as anxiety and depression, eating disorders, and just altogether a decrease in well-being. However, there are some good aspects of social media. For example, I can find out what all my friends and family that I otherwise would not talk to are doing. I can get news faster and become educated on topics that I otherwise would not know about. So, for example, the school Parkland just recently had a mass shooting, which is very devastating. However, I'm able to become more educated on things such as that. And all of you guys can learn the importance of violence in schools and that we need to do something about it. So, the goal of this speech is to tell you, social media is okay if it's used moderately. The next time you see a teenager scrolling on their phone, remember, there's more than what meets the eye.
Hello, my name is Brianna Fleming. I am 17 years old, and by this time next year, I will be legally considered as an adult. I will be getting ready to graduate from high school and continue on to the next chapter of my life. As I reflect on the past 18 years of my life in school, I'll evaluate all the labels that I've adopted from peers, teachers, and principals, such as intelligent, nice, funny, beautiful, and a distraction. Distraction. How did that one end up on the list of positive attributes of a young black girl? Distraction is a disciplinary word that is frequently used to describe the bodies and clothing choices of young girls such as myself. This word is a sugar-coated version of the system sees your body as a sexual object that corrupts the minds of men and young boys who are simply just trying to get an education. As if I didn't want an education too. As if the other millions of girls who get sent home early because they're tired did not want an education. This idea is hazardous to young girls who are growing up in an already tensely judgmental society that puts extreme pressure on beauty standards and body goals. Dress codes only seem to limit self-expression, label and sexualize young girls, dismiss that girls are sexual beings too, and helps introduce them into the world of sexism and valuing boys' education more than girls. While schools have the ability to make rules as they please within their district, they must do so by making sure that the rules do not interfere with the students' constitutional rights. School boards have the authority to prohibit any clothing that they may be seen as a distraction in the educational environment. Among these prohibited clothing attires are any gang-related clothing or items that show affiliation, baggy pants, suggestively themed t-shirts, pants and skirts that do not reach the school-required length, or seasonal clothing such as midriffs and open-back shirts. When we take into consideration of all the fashionable styles that are available in this society, the ones that are associated with being alluring, attractive, stylish, and being successful, it doesn't make much sense to discipline and blame students for wanting to accept the rewards of what society has to offer them for fitting into the in-crowd guidelines. This is what schools and everyone should really be concerned about. The fact that the popular clothes in our culture can determine whether you get better opportunities for girls, minorities, and LGBTQ+ people in a white heterosexual male-dominated world. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is, Nathaniel Harris. Thanks for the prompt, by the way. I'm from Springdale, Arkansas, and I attend school at Haas Hall Academy in Fayetteville. And today I would like to inform you about a dangerous yet relatively unknown threat regarding our ally, the nation of Israel. The threat is a movement called BDS, which stands for Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions. This movement, according to their webpage, is devoted to the so-called liberation of Palestinians under Israeli tyranny. Among the accusations are the so-called occupation of Arab lands, the lack of Palestinian rights, and prejudices held towards Palestinians. If this were the entirety of the picture, then BDS would be justified. However, it is not so. BDS wants nothing more than to eradicate global support for Israel and wants the ultimate failure of pro-Israel values. It is a global campaign to boycott companies, products, and the culture of Israel, and more specifically, Jews. If BDS actually cared about the rights of the Palestinians, then they would focus on the travesties that occurred due to the Palestinian Authority. In 2015, it was reported by the Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor that 1,274 arbitrary arrests occurred in Palestine. That's a high number, and that should never happen in any country. Furthermore, according to the Palestinian Center for Development and Media Freedoms, over 80% of people feel the need to self-censor, and 68% of journalists say that their material has already been censored before. The Henry Jackson Society, an organization dedicated to the furtherance of human rights, states that Palestinian law is at odds with internationally accepted human rights norms. Furthermore, that Palestinians use the media as propaganda against Jews, and that Palestinian authorities praise the terrorism that is carried out against Israelis. What BDS fails to realize is that the Palestinian human rights issue cannot be solved until the reason for it is properly identified, and that is the Palestinian Authority. The movement can stand there and make claims that it's the Jews that is the problem, but that is all it is, just a claim, an excuse, a justification for their unwarranted campaign to erode support for Israel. And the movement is already in the United States. More than 30 U.S. student governments have already pledged to boycott, divest, and push for sanctions against our greatest ally in the Middle East. The movement is here and is gaining support daily. I ask that you truly take the time to understand this movement and that it is solely for the eradication of support towards Israel. Thank you.
I have a question. Is half freedom really better than none? Because it's kind of like we're finally getting a plate, but the food is undone. We're being told that we're family, but being treated like a stepson. Content with the progress. Some people say we gained a ton, but I don't celebrate victories that haven't come. This war is far from won. Let me tell you why I think this way. Back to the other day, I noticed that we've been brainwashed. We're working chain jobs like cooks and the janitors. Not many of us are scholars and professors. It's like the rich white man is playing chess and we're stuck on playing checkers. They got us in check just when we thought they was going to king us later. And then when we get a king, they gun them down. And when we make a stride, they make sure it don't happen again. It's like even success has consequence. We integrate schools for learning. Whites leave and give us the financial burden, even though they still in charge. So by and large, it loses funding. Fundamental resources become less abundant until we have close to nothing. That was an excerpt from an original poem that I wrote. My name is Norel McAdoo. I'm a senior at Little Rock Central High School, and I wrote that poem coming from a place of contemplation. I wanted to touch on issues that were important to me and issues that plague my community, specifically the educational system. I have a problem with what we are being taught. Specifically in history class, it's a lot of instances where we have revisionist history. My little cousin in elementary school, he came home with a piece of paper that said Africans came to America as indentured servants. And they had fun, working hard, and they was earning a decent living. That is completely false. Africans were enslaved, forcibly brought to America, home to the most vicious and brutal system ever created. I also have a problem with the equity in schools. We have some schools coming from communities of color who are not supported politically, poorly financed, and they are expected to make numbers compared to schools that have better resources and better courses. It's unfair. And I just feel like that we can solve these problems with more representation, better representation. I want people who look like me in offices making policies, people who come from backgrounds I come from. And I feel like that'll truly help make this world a better place. That excerpt that I shared with you all comes from an original poem that I entitled A Poet's Prayer. I challenge each of you to identify problems that you see, fight for it, but not only fight, pray for it. Thank you.
Paul G. Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, once said, "The arts have a crucial impact on our economy and are an important catalyst for learning, discovery, and achievement in our country." When people think of education, the old adage of reading, writing, and arithmetic often comes to mind. But there is so much more involved in the development of good students. Arts education is often underappreciated by those who believe that only the systematic concepts of knowledge should be taught in school. However, the incorporation of arts in education is a major key to success. Arts gives students an outlet for self-expression as well as an aid in the improvement of personal developments for a person. In Hetland and Winter's 2007 book entitled Studio Thinking, The Real Benefits of Art Education, it was found that art teaches students a specific set of thinking skills called studio habits of mind. One key habit is learning to engage and persist, simply meaning that the arts teaches students how to stay committed, learn from their mistakes, and follow through. A second key habit taught by art is a student's learned ability to envision. This habit can be used when generating a hypothesis in science and even when learning about historical events. Barbra Streisand once said, "The arts exist not only to entertain, but to think,
provoke, and even to disturb the constant search for truth in our world. The arts implicate a thought of critical thinking, which is much needed in the world that we live in today. Critical thinking taught by art applies not only to students, but to everyone. Every single person in this room has been impacted by art in some way, shape, or form. Believe it or not, art also teaches how to solve problems, whether that be math problems, life situations, and even developing simple reasoning skills. Theater participants outperform non-theater participants in reading comprehension, reading readiness, word fluency, and writing skills. And surprisingly enough, art students also outperform their non-arts educated peers in math. Music facilitates a mastery in estimation and comprehension skills. I entered high school as a young girl who was too shy to even introduce myself to my peers and to my educators. And being a drama magnet at Parkview High School did not help me at all at first. Despite my seeming incapability to participate in theatrical functions, my teachers, such as Miss Hardin, kept pushing me to do my best and to move forward. She helped push me to become the captain of my debate team at school, write plays, student direct, and I even learned how to act a little bit, not that good. Without art and without my art teachers themselves, I would not be who or where I am today. So I would like to say thank you to Art Education, and I push you to push education and art to integrate. Thank you.
I am very fond of awkward silences. Spaces when nothing is said and everyone looks around for others to speak are fantastic moments when truths come out. Coming from a traditional Black community, I come from a long line of awkward silences, where we don't often speak about taboos. For this reason, I took it upon myself to ask, why is it so easy to keep our mouths shut? Why is silence such a difficult tool to use? After some scholarly research, I found 3 reasons. 1, it's embarrassing or frightening to speak up, Exhibit A. 2, there are enough people speaking about the subject. Or 3, we don't have a real opinion. Speaking towards the first reason, fear of speaking up. In today's society, we have a proliferation of activism dedicated towards raising your voice. The Me Too movement is a perfect example of this proliferation. Here we have an industry dedicated towards allowing certain actions to pass by so that the show may go on. Yet we have actresses, Olympic gymnasts, and hundreds of women raise their voice to speak against a long and terrible practice of sexual harassment. This draws people out of the silence that once held them captive. So we learn how powerful silence truly is, the impact of hundreds coming forward when nearly nothing was said before. So we see that silence is applauded when it is broken. However, what about when there's too much? There is danger in filling an issue with white noise. This phenomenon is known as clicktivism, activism on social media that is easily able to associate yourself with, however, there is little or no action behind it. The campaigns Kony 2012 and Bring Back Our Girls are perfect examples of this. The video Invisible Children, dedicated towards Kony 2012, received 98 million views on YouTube, and it enabled for many to draw their attention to the African leader Joseph Kony and his unlawful actions. However, Kony is apparently still free, and the video is accused of having a shallow perception of human rights. Similarly, Bring Back Our Girls is a campaign that was able to have many celebrities jump on the bandwagon, and a $20 million fund was built for a safe school initiative. However, there has been an ability for a terrorist group, Boko Haram, to gain significant publicity from this campaign. And director Rama Mosley was able to falsely claim originating this hashtag. So while clicktivism can benefit others, it has many drawbacks. So what's the point? Because so far I've said speak up, but don't. What I really mean is my last point, get an opinion. We need to be informed. Understanding the issues can help us know how to wield our silence. Silence can be tool or torment, and it is up to us to determine which one.
I'm told in the first category of 9 to 12 years old, it was a tie for third place. So, they will determine the winner, but we're going to recognize the 2 third-place tie winners, Bhavya Patel and Jemiah Everett. Allie Clark Hunt. This division is Laura B. Rogers. In third place, Yasin Bagat. The second place winner is Lily Parker. First place, Madison Robinson. Janiyah Carter. In second place, Miss Aurora King. One familiar with the winner's circle, Miss Jessica Todd. 18-year division. In third place, Michelle Gong. In second place, Dominic Diamond. And the first place winner is Emily Webb. In the 17 to 19-year-old category, in third place, Narelle McAdoo. In second place, Samantha Reddy. And the first place winner is Carissa Taylor.
Let me say this, everyone is a winner. We were impressed by everything that was said. I know that I was personally challenged, as many adults were in the group here, by what you said and the thought that you said and the way you said it and the research that you did. You know, communication changes the world. And by your ability to communicate, you may have changed Arkansas, and you certainly have changed the world in what you have said. So give them another round of applause.
We're going to ask Ms. Rockefeller to please come forward.
I am a part of the speaking club at my school, but I wasn't a speaker this year. But on behalf of the Ralph Vine Speaking Contest, I am willing to present you these flowers.
The overall winner for the Ralph D. Vines II Public Speaking Contest is, why are you all looking at me? Like, get on with it. Miss Madison Robinson. There's something further. Would either of you like to have any closing remarks before are we, okay? So this will actually conclude our program this afternoon. Oh, sure. I love your speech, by the way.